We're in El Salvador, the most dangerous country in the world. In this small country the size of the German state of Hessen, 18 people are murdered every day. The reason is a brutal war between two rival gangs that's been going on for years. Shortly after our arrival, we notice how much violence determines life in El Salvador. A 15-year-old is shot in plain sight, right next to our hotel. These scenes are part of everyday life for El Salvador's children. Even more worrisome is that these crimes are committed by minors. 60,000 children are members of one of the gangs. Our goal today is to visit a prison that wants to give children a different future. A jail where law-breaking mothers take their children with them, literally growing up behind bars. Is that something advisable?
Okay, also jetzt hier so auf den ersten Blick.
Okay, at first glance we see barbed wire, fences, guns. It's clearly a jail. How they plan on providing a happy childhood for those in there, I don't know. It's pretty hard to imagine.
Kann ich mir nur schwer vorstellen.
Today we want to find out how these children grow up behind the high walls and razor wire. Are they okay in here? Can they grow up happily living like this? Or is life in prison maybe even better and safer than outside on the streets? We had to wait for more than half an hour for a filming permit for the mother-child prison. That's because the women who live here aren't in for petty crimes. Most are here for murder, prostitution, belonging to a criminal organization, extortion or kidnapping. We have an appointment with the prison director, Moriah Guadalupe Mejia. Good morning. Are you the director?
I am. Welcome to the mother-child prison.
Can you tell me something about the prison? How many women are living here? How many kids are living here?
We have 180 women and just as many children, and 23 heavily pregnant women who will have their children soon.
The almost 150 women live in just 3 open-plan cells along with their children. Between 6 and 7 in the morning, 2 guards unlock the cells, one after the other.
Okay.
It's very stuffy, it's very humid, and it smells a lot like diapers.
Auch sehr nach Windel hier drin.
With almost 50 children in a large room, that's not so surprising. But the first impression is a lot better than what we expected. It's clean, tidy, the children are all in good physical shape, and the room is very colourful. It has a feeling of a youth hostel, more than that of a prison.
So everyone gets one of these beds, right?
Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
That's not so much space though. I'd say it's about 6 square feet.
So this is not that much space.
Well, this is a prison in the end, and you should also remember that these are much better conditions than what some of them have back in their homes.
Of course, that's what the prison director would say. But we want to learn more. We want to see life in the mother-child prison from the children's perspective. She allows us to form our own impressions. I'm Rafael. And you?
Hi, I'm Delmi.
Hola.
What's your name?
Jorge. Jorge. Hola, Jorge.
Hello, Jorge. Tell me, do you live here?
¿Vives aquí?
Yes, that's right. We have a bed and a crib here.
Delmi has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for extortion with deadly consequences. She's already served 4 of those, along with her son. He was only a few weeks old when she was sentenced to prison.
You know, this is not much space for you and your kid.
Oh, that's okay. The actual problem is that there are too many people in one room. That often leads to friction between the children, but also between us mothers.
We're allowed to accompany Delmi and Jorge today. Like every morning, the first thing to do is go to the washroom. A couple of showers, about 50 sinks. It looks modest, but this is actually a luxury here. Many of the poorer neighborhoods in San Salvador don't know what having running water is.
Do you think Jorge knows that he's in prison, that he understands?
No, I don't think he sees this as a prison. This is our home for him. He has no idea that we live in a prison.
It may be that Jorge doesn't know another kind of life. And admittedly, the mothers really do try their best to improve the appearance of the prison, so that the barbed wire is more resemblant of a colourful clothesline. And Jorge also looks more cheerful than we expected. Of 4 years of age pick up on more than we think. In particular, if you deal with the situation as openly as Delmi.
Honey, what do you wish for? I would like to have a donkey. A donkey? What kind of donkey? One to play with. A donkey to play with, I see. Okay, I promise you we'll get one when we're free.
Conversations about being free, bars on the windows, locked doors, all quite repressive for us, but normal for Jorge. Nine in the morning. Once a day, Delmi is allowed to leave the prison for a few minutes and take Jorge to the kindergarten, built right next door. This is meant to bring some sense of normality to everyday prison life, albeit while in handcuffs.
No, it's not a bad thing. He has no idea what handcuffs are, right? My love, what do we call these? Jewelry. Jewelry, exactly. And what's so special about this jewelry? It shouldn't be too tight, otherwise it'll hurt you.
In fact, the fantasy world Delmi constructs for Jorge seems to be working, and Jorge seems to be a very happy kid. The external conditions are also optimal. There is even 24-hour medical care in the prison's own kindergarten. That wouldn't necessarily be the case in Germany. Here in El Salvador, it's a luxury. Nonetheless, there is a bitter aftertaste. Something is missing. I just can't exactly say what it is. While Jorge is playing with his kindergarten group, mothers in the prison can work and make some money. Sewing and knitting. Or like Delmi, in the field. We take a closer look at the pretty, colourful and well-equipped kindergarten and meet up with Moriah. What's so different here in comparison to other kindergartens?
What we do here is, first of all, give the children physical and emotional protection. These children need special care when they're in prison with their mothers.
Why?
Because they don't really know very basic things. Like, for example, that you eat at a table. These kids really need some kind of life training for the world out there.
Sure, if you grow up in a room with 50 other children and mothers, elementary things like family life slip through the cracks. And only now do I realise what I had noticed, or the lack thereof, since I arrived here. Men. The children have no male caregivers here. Mothers, guards, director, kindergarten teachers, they're all women. What is actually astonishing, or maybe even a little bit scary, is that's my cameraman up there. The children surround us in a hurry and are looking for this male contact. The supervisors didn't have much to do with it, and how much they yearn for a father figure. In fact, they call my cameraman Dad twice. It has to be said that the children are actually doing well here. And as far as we can tell, they seem to have a happy childhood behind bars, even if a father figure isn't in the picture. But the longer we stay, the more evident the underlying problems become. Above all, the fear of loss.
Adios!
Where are you going?
Vamos a...
Just to the entrance.
Vamos a...
To the entrance over there.
To the entrance? Over there?
Aquí.
Over there, correct. Okay?
Okay?
Yes.
Adios!
I want to speak to the teacher again about the children and their relationship with their fathers. And then I realized the real problem with the concept of a mother and a child prison in El Salvador.
What do you think will happen when they first go home to their family they've never seen before?
That's exactly the problem. Some children have no family at all. When the mother is in prison, the father is usually behind bars too, or dead even. And when the kids are 5, they have to leave. Leave the kindergarten, leave the prison. And they don't know where to go. I have 2 kids now who have to leave soon, and they have nobody. No one out there. No father, nothing, and they can't stay. I can only help them prepare.
We learn that Jorge's dad is also in prison and will probably stay there for some time. And Delmy will have to stay in jail for about 3 more years. When Jorge turns 5 next year, he'll still have to go, regardless. Where, like for many other children, is still unclear. As absurd as it sounds, the children that have to leave at the age of 5 tend to depend on themselves from then on. The children can hardly wait to finally be able to run back to their mothers in the afternoon. Back home. Back to prison.
Did you have a good day? Yes. And I've been waiting for you all day by the door.
Jorge is allowed to stay in prison with his mother for another year. Then he will have to exit the high but also safe walls for the first time. Delmy is currently trying to reach her sister from jail, with whom her other 4 children have been living well ever since her arrest.
Do you think it's a good place for Jorge to grow up?
No, of course not. Nobody should grow up behind bars. But overall, I think it's important that he grows up with me, his mother. He is safest with me. I'm only afraid of him leaving prison next year. I don't know where he'll go, and he doesn't know the outside world. He's never been there.
Our conclusion? Are the children doing well here? Yes, they're safe in prison. They have medical care. They're well looked after. And they're with their mothers. Everything's fine so far.
But I was taken out of Egypt.
The problem comes afterwards. As long as there are no ways to assure the children will be taken care of after the age of 6, the concept of a mother and child prison will always be faulty.
Keep this secret. Blessed is the name. The name be praised.
Adiós.
Gracias, cuídense.
Muchas gracias. Adiós.
Ya decirle.
Adiós, Jorge.
Saludos y la ley.
Freedom through fight. It's only possible in Thailand. Criminals have the opportunity to box their way out of prison. For each victory, the detainee sees his sentence reduced. The whole scheme is called Prison Fight and it takes place once a year. It's difficult for us to understand. Violent crimes brought many prisoners here, and now they can fight freely? The Klong Pai Central Prison, about 3 hours north of Bangkok. Serious criminals are locked up here. Some of them will be in the ring in a few days. This prisoner is considered one of the favorites for the prison fights.
My name is Wee, and I'm serving a 10-year sentence. I made the mistake of killing someone. I was drunk and went into a murder frenzy.
The other fighters also have long-term sentences.
I was a drug dealer. I stabbed someone and have to be in here for 25 years.
The training room is part of the prison. Here the criminals prepare for the fight. For them, prison fight is their last hope to see their families in freedom again. The boxing hall is located in the high security wing. Only selected inmates get access. Only the best fighters are allowed to train here.
If I win, the fight can reduce my sentence by 2 years.
We meet the man who came up with this.
The detainees have to serve a third of their prison sentence before the best have the opportunity to fight for me.
Boxing for freedom. How does that make sense?
I want to help the prisoners. Prison fight is a re-socialization and charity event. Through hard training, they can change. The competition is to be seen as a motivation. As a reward, a reduction of the prison sentence is possible. My sole interest is in the prisoners. I personally don't gain anything out of this.
The director brings us back to the training room. There we meet Mr. Peck, a former Muay Thai champion. He organizes the exclusively foreign opponents.
I'm the organizer of prison fights. My idea was to have tourist boxers take on prisoners. I organized the event for one reason only. I want to help the prisoners. Everyone deserves a second chance in life, no matter what he did.
The opposition for the prisoners are referred to simply as boxing tourists. One of them just arrived to the airport in Bangkok. The German will participate in the prison fight in 3 days.
Hi, I've come from Germany for the most incredible tournament in the world.
The 20-year-old Eric Masyon from Stuttgart is considered a great talent in Thai boxing. He has been training Thai boxing for 6 years now. To him, it's not crucial who he's fighting, he says.
It's not a personal thing to me. I don't care what he did. To me, it's just a different opponent and a normal match.
Bangkok, a metropolis of millions in the heart of Southeast Asia. Here, every child dreams of a Thai boxing career. The bar is set high and only a few can make it. Eric goes straight to the training hall. At this place, removed from the city, the boxing tourists are accommodated. The prison is located in another district. The organizer, Mr. Peck, greets each newcomer personally. The training site is barely sparely equipped. Mr. Peck leads the newcomer past the ring directly to his accommodation. Eric's room is also broom closet and has yet to be cleared out. Mr. Peck himself gets involved.
This is my bed. He says it's dangerous here, but I'll sleep well with this thing.
Can I see the toilets and the showers?
The facilities are next door and are locked, supposedly because they've often been broken into. The shared bathroom is at best functional. Nobody comes here on vacation, that much is clear. What he doesn't know yet, an old acquaintance is waiting for him at the ring. Mr. Peck asked him to be a training partner for Eric.
Hey, Masood. How are you? Long time no seen.
We met in Germany.
Masood is considered an experienced Thai boxer. He's of Iranian heritage. He met Eric at a tournament a few years ago.
I already fight for 15 years, so it's okay, no more.
How does Masood rate Eric's chances in the fight?
Yeah, I wish he wins. He's one of my best friends, and I always try to help him. I hope he wins this fight. Yeah.
It's hot, over 30 degrees in the shade. Due to the tropical temperatures, the gym is open on all sides. It's the only way the extremely demanding training is possible here.
At these temperatures, you sweat several litres, and then it's really hot. And the training's really intense.
Other challengers arrive. They all came here to fight against felons. Probably the highlight of this fight.
Well, then you get nervous. You don't know what'll happen in the ring. And anything can happen during a fight.
Is that the kick? Fighting against people who have nothing to lose? Maybe that's just what makes the fight so honest.
Okay, today it's enough. We go eat and sleep.
Two more days till the fight. We are back at Klong Pai Detention Center. The Thai boxers are separated from the other detainees by order of the prison director. This, for example, is one of the cells of the prison fight contestants.
We're way better off here than the other inmates.
All boxers have previously spent part of their prison sentences in massive cells. Only then they were selected.
There's 6 of us, but before that I was sitting in a mass cell with 165 others. An absolute mess.
Here we meet inmate Uy, the murderer, again.
You have to be very careful in the overcrowded cells. A single spark and the powder keg explodes, which can be very dangerous. And of course, incidents happen. People die. They're killed.
Now we want to find out how normal inmates live next door. They're being chained up. Obviously, we're not wanted here. We film regardless. The prison is hopelessly overcrowded. Hundreds of detainees share 2 drinking cups. The latrines in the open air smell horrible. The whole area is a dump, and it's bursting at the seams. Our team is discovered again and stopped by a security guard. What happens here shouldn't be filmed under any circumstances. Now the guards have had enough. We realize that our filming is finished at this point.
Guys, we need to get off soon.
The next morning, one day before the big event. Today the pairings will be announced. Eric and Masood are on their way to the prison. The press conference begins in a few minutes. In front rank, high-ranking judicial officials line up. In the back, prisoners and boxing tourists side by side. The media interest is huge, especially now that the pairings are announced. Eric gets assigned to his opponent. It's Uy. Even Masood thinks he's really tough.
That guy's 100 years in the jail. He wants to kill me for sure. If he win, he get cut like 5 years.
But what difference does a 5-year reduction make to a criminal with a 100-year-long sentence?
Nobody keep fighting, maybe it be 50 years, then maybe it be 30 years. If he kept fighting, win, like they give him cut like that.
In fighting, therefore, is where hope lies. The night before the fight, the two stay in a hotel room next to the prison.
The fight is important to me, to put on a good show. I want to win, but win or lose, if the fight was good, I'm satisfied.
How well the two are prepared, we'll find out tomorrow. It's over for the day. Both fighters need their sleep. The big day has come. The prison fight will begin in 3 hours. The security measures are particularly strict today. The last time a vehicle was taken and a mass escape was only just prevented.
So, welcome to jail, to the Klong Pai jail.
The foreign athletes are now being watched from all sides. In groups, the boxers go through the final security gates, past the ring and into a preparation room. Mr. Peck and the director discuss the final details, and they take bets.
Betting? Of course you can bet. At best with me.
So much for the charity of this event, which is all about the prisoners. Apparently to the organisers, the marketing of the event is just as important. It begins. The officers declare the prison fight as open. The first fight is on. A Thai fighter against an Englishman. Thai boxing is a full-contact sport. Unlike normal boxing, the use of knees and elbows is allowed. The fight is over after 3 rounds. You can win either by points or by knockout. In the preparation room, the boxers hear the shouts from the spectators. That makes them even more nervous. It's clear. The crowd goes wild only when a foreigner goes down. Masood and Eric bandage each other's hands, an important measure to protect the wrists and ankles. For the two friends, this is the calm before the storm. The first 2 fights are already over. Both times an inmate won. The prisoners are aware of their aggressiveness. They want to win. They have to win to get a chance for freedom. A Thai also wins the 3rd fight. It's going to be serious for Masood now. He's by far the most experienced foreign fighter. His opponent, a murderer on 3 accounts. The two give no quarter, full contact from the first minute. The first round goes clearly to Masood. Masood stays calm. He tries to counter his opponent, but he's highly motivated. After all, he's fighting for himself in the end.
We underestimated his opponent. We just thought he'd be a fall guy.
The fight goes into the 3rd round. Eric watches his friends from the stands. Masood raises his hands. Incredible. The boxing tourist has won. Now it's Eric's turn. All eyes are on him. The fight begins with a ritual of ancient tradition. The headband is called Mongkol. The boxer gets it from his trainer when he's ready for the fight. Then comes Wai Kru, a bowing ritual to show respect to coach's family and the public. The ring is cleared. The first of 3 rounds of 3 minutes each. Uy looks like totally changed. The first round clearly goes to the Thai.
Back elbow, they take this left kick, jump and left kick.
Masood takes on the role of the coach. Next round. The prisoners celebrate their hero. The cheers are only for Uy. This round also goes to the criminal.
Yes. You have to left kick. Jab, elbow, kick, okay? Left kick anytime. Left kick, elbow, left no energy, okay? He finished, he's tired energy. He's too tired, man.
The last round. Now Eric has to beat his opponent with a KO. On points, he's clearly behind. A good combination from Eric. He almost had him, but Uy pulled back in time. The fight is over. How did the referees rate the fight? Uy is the winner. For Eric, the show is over. The disappointment? Huge. He clearly loses the fight on points. He had no chance against Uy's will to win. Eric can't really believe this just happened. He doesn't want to talk to us. No chance. We respect that. He's consoled by his opponent, Uy. He gave him 5 years less imprisonment with his defeat.
That was a good fight. Eric's a strong fighter, but for me it's about freedom, and I'm not going to miss out a second time.
The prison fight. It's no coincidence that this fight for freedom is considered one of the toughest fights in the world.
You think this is Holiday Inn? You don't want to hear their bullshit.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. I want to hear their bullshit, sir.
This isn't high school. If you're not going to take it serious, then you're going to end up locked up again. You don't want to take responsibility for your actions. If we help you,
it's a horrible situation. I hate when someone tells me what I'm doing wrong, what I'm bad at.
those kids' lifestyle will change.
It's hard to take.
We're in Moriah Shock Prison, New York State. The special feature? No fences, no barbed wire, no locks. Instead, rigorous military drills. The prisoners could escape at any time, but they don't. How does the prison without walls work? 5:30 a.m. Time to wake up. 15 minutes later, the 300 inmates have to work out, like soldiers, every day for 2 hours. New in prison, Thomas Eisenberger. He's in for drug trafficking. Every minute here, a challenge for the 35-year-old.
When I first got here, the PT was a little hard. I would personally never run away.
Military drill instead of prison walls. Eisenberger deliberately chose this. Like everyone else, he had a choice in court: several years in jail or 6 months at Moriah Shock. Eisenberger hopes to be reprogrammed. The drill takes its toll. He needs his energy. There's a tough test ahead. What the drill can achieve is best shown by Brian Colon. He's been here for 5 months. The system has turned him upside down.
Feel great, man. It's a beautiful morning. Close to going home. Getting my mind and my body right. Can't ask for anything more right now. Well, it's like medicine. Sometimes medicine tastes nasty, but it makes you feel better.
Drill instructor Dave Adams' task: making the prisoners compliant. The objective: blind obedience.
Physical training starts at day, all right? Gets them motivated. Second platoon, fall out. Sir. Sir, sir. Quickly. They get excited about PT. Not so much in the beginning when we first start the program, but after they've been here about a month, 6 weeks, they look forward to it. Second platoon, you look forward to PT? Sir, yes, sir. Second platoon, what about PT? That's the tone of the day. They like it.
6 months of military-style drill is too hard for many. 20% of the inmates drop out and voluntarily go to the normal jail. The others have to push through and hope to be better people after 6 months. After 2 hours of physical training, the inmates are allowed to have breakfast. 1 of 3 meals a day. They have exactly 15 minutes. Every day they get the same menu: 2 glasses of milk, coffee, potatoes, cornflakes, a banana. Everything the men do is carefully coordinated to the smallest detail. No walls in jail. This works only through coordination. Nobody is allowed to step out of line. No walls also means no privacy. Eisenberger lives along with 45 other inmates in the same room. The reason behind this? Mutual control. And it works, because if an inmate is messy, everyone gets punished.
A lot of my fellow peers' lockers are a little higher and tighter than mine. They make this look a lot sharper than I do. I do well. I pass my evals, so I'm doing good. But it can look a lot better than this. It can also look a lot worse.
Just like in other jails, there are no personal belongings.
So I knew what was coming. No packages, nothing like that. These are my personal belongings. That's what I accept.
In a few hours, Eisenberger will face a tribunal. He doesn't know about it yet. 8 o'clock, time to raise the flag. Organized into various platoons, the prisoners have to stand upright for an hour each day, without even moving a finger. While they do so, freedom is always present. The smallest mistakes are immediately dealt with by the sergeants.
He was touching himself. Even with bugs and stuff like that, they gotta maintain the military ground.
For newcomers like Eisenberger, it's hard to keep his nerve.
So whenever drill instructors come around, someone says, "You, why are you moving?" I'm locked up even tighter, hoping it wasn't me that was moving. Was I moving? Am I moving? Am I doing something wrong? You're asking yourself these questions while you're worried about getting corrective PT.
Some punishments are borderline bullying, or they seem deliberately arbitrary. The sergeants first have to break the inmates in order to transform them.
Everything matters. Every little thing matters. They're at parade rest. They're not supposed to move around.
Attention! DA's report.
As a reminder, all inmates are here voluntarily, hoping to become better people in 6 months. But not every offender can apply. The prisoners in Moriah are petty criminals and don't have a history of violent crime. Therapy is also part of the program. Here, inmates are to tear down their personal walls. They shouldn't have secrets. Prison veteran Brian Colon has to deal with his past drug abuse today and open up about the darkest chapter in his life. Colon did and sold heroin. He spent 5 years in a normal jail. But the time was more a swampland of temptation than of improvement for the 39-year-old.
In real prison, there is no caring community. There's probably more drugs in prison than in the outside world. There's more violence in prison than anywhere else in the world. The staff here is phenomenal. They genuinely care. They may come down on you hard, but it's all because they see in you what you should see in yourself. I've become a better me every way possible.
Colon wants to become a better person at any cost. Escape from the prison without walls, not an option.
Never thought about leaving, never thought about quitting. If anything, every day I try a little bit harder.
Feet.
Brian appears to us as an honest guy, but also robotic. The shock program changed him. Every day, a bit more. We discussed how security is ensured with Superintendent Rawson Boyce. Since the founding of Moriah in the 1980s, he's significantly influenced the prison.
There are certain criteria that they have to meet before they're sent to a correctional setting that doesn't have a fence. There's also several counts and there's several security measures that we take.
Hardly anyone relapses, and it's cheaper. The shock program saves up to $20,000 per inmate. By comparison, in Germany, sooner or later every second inmate relapses and ends up back behind bars.
In this setting also, the inmate has the advantage of going home in 6 months rather than being incarcerated for his entire state bid, so the inmates don't want to jeopardize that.
The huge reduction in their prison sentence keeps most of them from running away. In the morning, the risk of escaping is at its highest. The inmates perform charitable work in the next town.
Today I believe we're going to clean up some campsites.
It's 11 o'clock. Without shackles, in an unsecured van, Eisenberg's group is on its way. The destination? A campsite 10 kilometers away, in the middle of an idyllic national park. Only 3 guards to look after the 10 inmates on the large site. Unarmed as well. A great moment to make a break. For Eisenberger, however, the thought never crosses his mind.
I would personally never run away. There's too much at stake. I was sentenced to 5 years. This sheds almost 30 months off my sentence to come out here and, rake and on the edge of this lake and look at these mountains, and it's a blessing in disguise. I'm thankful to be here.
Only 2 people have fled in the prison's entire history, in a situation like this one, at work. Both were caught and sent to normal jail. Time for dinner. Pasta, peas, white bread, a yogurt and a glass of milk are being brought to the table. The most important thing now is food, because after 10 hours of continuous drill, the prisoners have been pushed to their limits. And even then, the sergeants don't back down. Eisenberger has to adjust to the pressure.
We only have 8 minutes to eat, so the key is to shovel it in as fast as I can.
The short amount of time isn't the only thing adding pressure on the inmates, especially when the guards spoil their meal.
Where's that go?
Sir, front left pocket, sir.
Why isn't it in there?
Sir, no excuse, sir.
That's right. Enjoy your meal on the back wall.
Sir, yes, sir.
See ya.
Man, this inmate thinks that it's reasonable because all of my fellow peers and myself, we know what we're doing wrong. So it'll make us not do it again next time, man.
Are these antics really necessary? We talk to one of the guards.
The discipline here for the very small things is the small things make the big things come together in the end, and we create structure.
Which means the guards educate the prisoners for everyday life, even at the dinner table. Newcomer Eisenberger looks pretty exhausted.
There's no private time at all. It's very exhausting, mentally challenging.
Eisenberger still has the biggest challenge of his day ahead of him. After dinner, this means surrendering to the conflict course. Inmates tear down walls amongst themselves. They even drill criticism, all against one. If you're the one in the pillory, you're not allowed to defend yourself.
When we sit down here in this group, we have to air each other's issues and shortcomings and defects of character. It's a horrible situation.
Today is Eisenberger's turn for his first run in the hot seat. His platoon has a lot to say. He seems to be far down the group's hierarchy. Now he has to deal with the criticism.
You're a whole new person. I can barely talk to you. You're too busy running around politicking of the shock program.
You're extremely loud out there.
You're the house mouse.
Which seems somewhat aggressive still. You're just working on the surface.
Eisenberger has to bear it all. Only when all the inmates have had their turn to speak is he allowed to justify himself. But not before the drill sergeants speak.
They said you wanted to be our friend. You want to shoot the willy with me?
Sir, no, Inmate Eisenberger does not want to be your friend, sir.
Good. 'Cause I don't want to be your friend.
Inmate Eisenberger was asked by his platoon leader to help with issues that are involved in the platoon. Dress code, locking up on time.
Eisenberger begins ranting. But the sergeants are only expecting short apologies.
Thank you for helping out.
You don't want to hear their bullshit.
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. I don't want to hear their bullshit, sir.
You take what he's saying serious? This isn't high school. If you're not going to take it serious, then you're going to end up locked up again. You don't want to take responsibility for your actions. If you change, you become a better person.
Well, I see here, this is just my opinion. If you're squatting, you're going to be having quiet time. My favorite time.
The conflict course is over.
I'm mad at myself. I'm upset with myself. I need to slow down more. And this program is helping me with patience. I'm very, positive.
All right, please. Forward march. Lock it up in front of your lockers.
9:30 p.m. Lockdown. The prison without walls. A tough drill and the hope for a better life. Nobody thinks about leaving.